Hi, everyone, and welcome to a special quarantine edition of Filipino Time. Uh, I am Francis Aguila, and with me virtually is my co host, Federico Borromeo.
Hey guys. Hey Francis.
Hey, Shani, good to see you. And one thing we're everyone is really looking forward to is the releases of Rolex's new 2020 collection. I believe that it will be released in the first week of September, which actually is next week. So we thought it was a good time to jump into, talking about these potential new releases, what we think we're going to see. And I want to start, Fed, with the Submariner.
Yep.
And I'm pretty sure you've seen, just like the rest of us, Rolex's teaser, which is the blue background with the nautical theme, and then you see the iconic triangle from the top of the Submariner bezel. And I think pretty much everyone is expecting a Smurf in stainless steel. So what do you think about that?
Well, first because we're talking about Rolex, so Francis, a quick wristwatch check,
Oh yeah, sorry, yes. Daytona for me, 116520.
and for me, Submariner 116610, in honor of the secret or the soon-to-be released Submariner. Assuming
So,
it's a Submariner.
well, we think it's a Submariner. So what do you think, Fed?
Well, the first thing is that there have been a lot of blue dialed, blue bezeled watches in the past.
Yeah.
And as we know that, it's no secret. And my personal opinion is that once in a while, Rolex lets Tudor take the lead and try out, something different, or, change the size a bit, change the dial a bit. So um, for the new Submariner, if it is a Submariner, I don't know if it's just a matter of changing the old 3135 movement, and
Mhm.
maybe changing the shape of the case, because that maxi case is a little bit polarizing, I think, or the super case. I think
Yes.
some people still prefer the svelte shape, although personally I do like the squarish shape myself.
Yeah.
And then I guess we can talk about the different blues, like
Yes.
of course the more popular, or I should say, um, the venerable Tudor Submariner Blue Snowflake
Yes.
9411/0,
Yeah.
which I think is one of the in my opinion, or I could be wrong, Francis, it's one of the first that really gave us a taste of that blue.
As far as I know, yes.
And then, of course, if we fast forward to present day, um, we have, like I said earlier, the Smurf, the 116619 LB. We
Yes.
have the two-tone Blue Z, the 116613 LB,
That's right.
and yellow gold 116618 LB. So I'm guessing it would be somewhere there. And of course, uh, there's also the blue from the Batman, right?
Yes.
And since I mentioned the Tudor, of course, the blue Pelagos and the recently released BB58, the Black Bay 58 in blue. So I don't know, Francis, which of those blues, which do you think they would go with?
Well, right now, I'm just gonna base it from what they did with GMT2, the 126710. And you actually mentioned it a little bit earlier. They tend to use not just two door, but also the white gold models as a little bit of
Yes.
a test bed, or as a sneak preview before they bring it out to the stainless steel models, which everyone knows is their bread and butter. So I personally think that they're going to bring out a variation of the Smurf
Okay.
from the white gold into the stainless steel, the way they did the Pepsi with the white gold first, bring it into the stainless steel. I have seen online some people talking about possibly changing the dial,
Yes.
maybe keeping the color of the ceramic bezel blue,
Okay.
but instead of the blue sunburst dial, which is a little bit divisive, I think, with
Yes, I
some collectors.
agree. I agree.
Uh, I personally like it, but I know some people don't, and
Yes.
some of the purists don't like the kind of sunbursty look, which actually is also shared with the Hulk, the green of the Hulk as well. But
Yes.
um, a potential to bring in a black dial instead, similar to the Kermit.
Yes. Okay. Well, we've also seen that, on the Black Bay, they also have a black dial Black Bay with the blue bezel.
Yes,
Although, of course, or I could be mistaken, but I think in the older Black Bay, it's still aluminum.
I believe
So
so. Yes, it is.
it gives a different reflection or sheen.
Mhm.
But it's always a good test bed, right?
Agreed, agreed. So,
Yeah.
do you think there are any other Submariner variants that will be coming out 2020 or next week?
Well, I'm not sure about that, but I am sure that, well, the Kermit and the Hulk both were successful.
Yes.
So um, what I would be curious about is that, and in true Rolex fashion, wherein, as you said, after the precious metal, maybe they
Yeah.
come out with a Mark One, and
Yes.
then somewhere along the way they say, oh, maybe we should adjust the color a little bit, so there might be a Mark Two.
Okay.
Um, I don't know if a Sea Dweller is anywhere in the conversation,
Yeah.
but I think it's just a Submariner, because this Submariner we have has been out since 2010.
I agree. I agree. And actually, since you talked about the Sea Dweller, let's jump into the Sea Dweller and the Deep Sea. Well, I think they just recently got updates not too long ago for both of them. So I guess I personally don't think there's going to be much difference, or there's going to be a new version of that, unless you believe otherwise. We can skip them.
Well, like I said, I just wanted to emphasize again the size and the shape of the case.
Yeah.
As you know, in the last few years, Rolex has been trying out various case sizes with the OP, the Oyster Perpetual, and I guess as far as the Oyster Perpetual goes, there's so many choices now for people with different wrist sizes.
Yeah. Agreed. Agreed.
All right, so the other the other model that personally I thought would come out last year
Yeah.
was actually the Coke GMT.
126 710, but this time maybe BL no RONR, I believe
The
would be
correct, yeah. You
the
have to say it in French, Francis.
Rouge Noir.
Oh, merci beaucoup. On that note
Yeah,
about
but yeah,
The Coke GMT,
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
the Coke GMT. So as I mentioned earlier, also about the Submariner and the 3135. If I'm not mistaken, Francis, that movement has been with us since 1988.
Wow, I didn't realize it was that long.
Yeah, and of course it's been modified, and they've made it more efficient. They've changed parts, etc. But the GMTs are already using the 3285.
Longer,
Eh,
more accurate, and longer uh, power reserve.
Yeah, so I don't know what kind of movement they would use for the new Submariner. And oh, sorry, I just wanted to add,
Sure.
um, since again we talked about the case size. Remember that when they launched the white gold Yachtmaster, they went for a 42.
That's right. That's right. So they actually have a 40 and a 42 now.
Yeah, so I don't know if that's something that they would consider or risk, I should say,
Mm,
on the Submariner. Because on the GMT, it's just a matter of changing the color and then
sure.
maybe deciding if it should go with the Oyster or the Jubilee. But the Submariner, as they say, that if you go way back into the 1950s, there's always something so, um, how would you say, familiar about the
Yes.
Submariner.
Agreed.
So, and in fact, I'd like to take this as a segue back into the Yachtmaster. Is that, you know, before Tudor changed their image into, this more vibrant and aggressive brand,
Yes.
personally, I think they were trying things out with the Yachtmaster.
Particularly with the Yachtmaster too.
Well, yeah, but and also the one, which
Yes.
I
Agreed.
owned before, the
Yes.
Yachtmaster. I loved it, but it was just so different because it had a platinum dial, it was silver, it
Yeah.
was more flashy, etc. So back in the day, I guess they were using, and they still are using the Yachtmaster to test a lot
Yes.
of new ideas, try
Agreed.
to see how far they can push uh, the Rolex loyal fan base.
Agreed.
So yeah, so I don't know if they're gonna try again something with the Yachtmaster. Maybe.
Yeah, it could be. And to your point, you're right. Something like the Submariner might represent a bit of a risk to Rolex for pushing too far. But
Yes.
he's, I guess, for lack of a better word, the uh, the less iconic. And that's not really a. I don't think that's fair to the Yachtmaster, but I guess in comparison to the Submariner,
Yeah.
the
The
newer model.
shiny brother. The
Yeah,
shiny brother.
yeah, the younger brothers. That's right.
Yeah.
That would make it. And speaking of which, the models that not everyone thinks about right away when they say they say Rolex is, well, the Air King actually has been due for an update for a very long time. I think we've had basically the same watch for the last, I don't even know how long, 10, 15 years or so. So, what do you think they should do about the Air King? Is there anything you would like to see with it?
I would like to go back to a simpler dial.
Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe they might want to put it on a 39. Isn't the new one a 40? The latest one is a 40,
I
right? Or is it 39?
I believe it's a 39, but I could be wrong. I believe it's
Okay.
39 already.
All right.
And
So
I think yeah, the 39 for that, and then they've kind of adjusted a little bit their range to have different sizes of cases from the Sea Dweller. I think it's a 44, SD4 case of 43,
yes,
and
yes,
the
correct.
42, the Explorer 2 is a 42, and then
Correct.
down the line. So I think they've done a good job of sort of adding more larger watches, but not forgetting the more classical sizes for the
Agreed.
offering.
Yeah, so as far as the Air King is concerned, that would just be, just go back to maybe a simpler dial, which I think is what they're planning to do with the Milgauss, right?
That's right.
There's some people saying it's gonna go back to the original dial, but
The
there's also
black
some
dial.
people saying that we might see a moving bezel. I don't know.
Well, you actually beat me to it because the Dilgauss was going to be the next topic for discussion. And yeah, I've seen the different versions with. I can't remember the reference number anymore, but there was an early reference number of the Milgauss with the rotating bezel. I have seen some Photoshop versions of it online, and to be perfectly honest, I'm not a big fan of the rotating bezel on the
On the
Milgauss.
Milgauss.
I do like. I've seen some renderings with the black dial and the silver lightning bolt with a red
Yes.
with a red arrow, and possibly also changing the case shape as well. So that's something to look forward to also, because the Milgauss, it's like you were saying with the Yachtmaster, it's one of the less traditional Rolexes in terms of it's not very serious in terms of the aesthetic, right? The green, the
Yes.
blue, and the orange. It's very colorful for a Rolex.
Yes. Yes.
Well,
So after the Milgauss, I guess um, I wanted to mention the talks about the Explorer One and Explorer Two. Although for
yes.
the Explorer Two, an older prediction, which also was not um, did not come to fruition, is the ceramic bezel.
Ceramic bezel. That's right.
Yeah,
The ceramic
because
bezel.
on the Daytona, I think it was successful
Yes.
mostly.
Agreed.
But on the Explorer, personally, I'm not so sure. What about you?
I agree with you. I think that Rolex has enough models with the Daytona, the GMT, the Submariner, and the Yachtmaster with the ceramic bezels that it would make sense for them to maintain steel bezels for their other models, so that again, we talked about the different sizes. So Rolex having this nice spread of different sizes to fit
Yes.
really any wrist size or any preference for case size and things like that. I think it would be smart of them to leave one of their models with a steel bezel. And well, if you're talking about especially the Explorer 2, I mean, that really has a wonderful heritage with the Steve McQueen look and the Polar look with just a very clean looking bezel. So
So
if I was them, I would change it.
is it a white dial for you or a black dial?
Have to say black dial, and a little bit
Okay.
biased because of the McQueen. But I know,
Okay.
honest, I would be happy with either.
Okay. Because personally, I prefer the white, and which
Yes,
leads me to my next topic about the Explorer One. That there
yes,
are
the
talks of
white
coming up
dial.
with a white dial or maybe a
Yeah.
cream or ivory dial. What are your 2 cents on that?
I would like to see a cream dial. I'd like to see that. I think that the Explorer one fits that little niche of Rolex where it's almost exactly an homage, direct homage to the original 1016 models and whatnot. And the white dial just looks too modern for me
Oh, okay.
in that shape. It's a little bit
So
shocking.
cream.
For
So
me, a
cream.
cream would be interesting.
36 or 39?
I know the current model is a 39. I'd like to
Yes.
see them go back to the 36, but I do also recognize that they're trying to differentiate from the OP. So I
Okay.
kind of understand that. So I guess the 39 would make sense for the Explorer one.
Well, that would be something very interesting for me, a 39 in cream, because I think that's really like, it'll go well with a lot of outfits.
No, I agree. And with the very clean lines of the Explorer, very
Yes.
uncluttered dial, I think it would look really really good. And something that Rolex might want to look into. A lot of their you mentioned earlier, a lot of their new designs are a little bit more forward facing.
Yes.
One that looks to the past, and like you
Yes.
said, with the Air King, I agree with you there. A couple of models with a foot in the past wouldn't be a bad thing for them to have in their offering.
Yes. 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 And
There's a couple of the models there. Well, we touched on the Daytona really quickly. I don't think there's anything new for the
oh, I have
Daytona.
a comment.
Oh, go please.
Well, I saw some renderings on the net
Yes.
um, of the two-tone Daytona with black ceramic. Yeah.
I'm not a fan. I'll be honest. I'm not a fan of it. I think
Okay.
I think it. I think the two tone needs a gold bezel for it to tie everything in. Adding another color, black, gold, steel.
It cuts it off. It makes it so
Yeah.
abrupt.
Yes, I agree. I'm not a big fan of it. What I will say is there could be variations because like the chocolate dial has gone through I don't know how many different variations of the dial throughout the years, and so maybe there's going to be some slight changes there. But I don't see them doing too much with the two tone. The same way that with the if I'm not mistaken, with the Yachtmaster, the two tone they didn't touch the bezel of that anymore.
Well, I guess a real curveball, which I know nobody's predicted, and I don't think it's ever gonna happen, is um, I'm still waiting for the day they'll give that extra 1 millimeter to the Daytona. Just make it a little bigger.
it's
I
a
don't mind.
it's actually 39 point something something something.
Yeah.
It's some weird number.
Yes. Yes. So hopefully they can think about us husky boys and give us that 1 millimeter.
On that note, I was just on one of the Rolex forums a little bit earlier today, and there was a guy there just begging Rolex to have a 41 or 42 Daytona simply because he said, I have a grown man wrist. And I was thinking, grown man, how big are you? 6'6", 250-pound guy.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
8-inch wrist. So, and I felt bad because I'm only 5'9", but I also have an 8-inch wrist.
Well, you know what, Francis? It's like, and since you mentioned it, like when the Date Just 2 came out in the 41, I thought it was a very interesting size.
I agree, and well, like you said earlier, it especially for the Date Just and the OPs. These are the, for lack of a better word, the everyman's Rolex, which is and it's not
Yes.
really the proper descriptor, but to have the range to fit everyone's needs
Yes.
for Rolex with that model where there's almost no risk, it just makes
Yes.
so much sense for them.
Yeah. Well, remember in the case of if we take a look or we take a page at some of the Omegas, right? For the
Yes.
Planet Oceans and the Speedmasters, they've also
Yes.
got a lot of case sizes to choose from.
Yes, I agree, and I think it's a good move for Omega, and it will be a good move for Rolex to have the multiple sizes, and well, like we said, the multiple design languages that speaks to different niches of the market.
Okay,
One
so
model we haven't quite talked about yet is the Sky Dweller. Um,
okay,
Now, I personally don't think there's going to be too much change with the Sky Dweller. Possibly a different dial color.
yeah.
Um, I I I I quite like the move for them to bring it down to a stainless steel model to make it a little bit more accessible to, well, I wouldn't say the everyman because I don't think any
But
Rolex.
that is what they did, Francis, right? When they first
Correct.
came out with the precious metal And then
Yes,
they said it was so slow, so they went with the stainless. But
correct.
it's still how would you say? It's still up there in terms of pricing,
It
but you do
is.
get a lot of watch and complication for your money.
I agree, which is why I think that it might be a good idea for them to just change or add another dial color. I believe
Okay.
right now the stainless comes in blue,
There's
and
blue, black, white.
yes, uh, blue, black, white. But I believe the black was on the rubber strap. Is it right?
No, no. It's a different color for the leather.
I would love to see that.
Yeah. It is a big
Uh,
watch too, so I guess
yes,
that's for people with larger wrists or people that just want a big watch.
agreed. I agree. And
Yeah.
so that pretty much covers the entire range of Rolex. We've talked about all the models in their current model range, right down to the OPs, with the exception of Cellini, which I
Yeah.
don't know about you. I'm not particularly interested in. I'm sorry, sorry Rolex. I'm just not. But is there? Do you want to add anything else to the conversation before we wrap up?
Well, um, we're gonna have our friend from one of our ADs on the show soon. So
Yes.
let's hear it straight from the horse's mouth.
I'll be looking forward to that. I believe. Are you handling that hearing
No, I think it's you.
Is it me? I was gonna try to. So, well, one of us will be there, and
Yes, yes.
whether it's me or you, I'll be really looking forward to hearing what they have to say because I believe we'll be interviewing him right after the announcements, and
Yep.
so we'll have a little bit more insight into what exactly Rolex has been up to since this whole coronavirus pandemic's hit.
Did you say coronavirus?
Oh, well, I have a coronavirus. I've had that for a long
Okay.
time.
All right,
All right.
Francis. Stay
Thanks, man.
safe.
Thank
Guys,
you.
thanks for tuning in.
All right, guys, please like and subscribe, and we'll keep plugging out here, trying to get you guys some more news and some more reviews. I think we have some unboxings coming up. Like Fed said earlier, we have some interviews with, in particular, with a friend from a local AD for Rolex, and so please stay tuned.